Hello, I'm Norm Armstrong. I'm the Training and Standards Officer for the Okanagan Quality of Life Society. The Heaven Can Wait pontoon boat is considered a commercial vessel and is regulated by Transport Canada. There are requirements for additional safety items on board which exceed the requirements of personal watercraft. The equipment required to be on the board HCW are as follows. Firstly, we are required to have a bailing bucket. Well, a pontoon boat doesn't really need to be bailed anywhere because there's no place for water to collect. So this little canister that we see here actually has some additional equipment inside it, but the canister itself actually works as a bailing bucket, so we have it on board. Second item is we're required to have a manual propelling device, which is a paddle. The paddle we have on board, as you can see, is pretty small for a 25-foot boat. So what we'll do is we'll go to the back of the boat and we'll show you that we have an auxiliary motor in addition to the paddle. The main motor of the HCW2 is a 90 horsepower Mercury, the big one that you can see here. If there was a malfunction on that motor for any reason, obviously the little paddle would be too small to operate this boat, so we have an auxiliary motor, which is a 9 horsepower outboard motor, which will run in case of an emergency. Another safety piece of equipment on board is the life ring. It has a 25-meter floatable polypropylene line that's attached to the boat. The idea with this is you would throw it out in the water and the person would put his arm in it and you'd pull them back towards the boat. Another item we're required to have on board is an anchor. And you can see we have an anchor that's complete with a chain and a rope to let it go down to depth, and we just get tied onto the back of the boat. What I've got in my hand here is actually a loading pole that we can actually use to push ourselves away from either docks or other boats in case of emergency. Okay. Another item that we're required to have on board, of course, is a fire extinguisher. The fire extinguisher is located in this corner beside the gate, opposite the entrance gate, that when you come on the board, you'll see it right away. The bailing canister and the paddle are supposed to live underneath the seat right opposite the helm. So we'll just put them underneath in this spot right here for easy access. There's a clear bin that's located underneath the helm, and I'll show you where that goes in a second, that has the rest of the safety equipment that we require on board, or more of it anyway. Firstly, we are required to carry flares, which are handheld flares, so it shoot off in the air and give an orange signal in the sky to tell you where we are. We're required to have an air horn, which is a sound signaling device. I can push it, that's probably pretty loud. Maybe you don't want that. We're required to have a flashlight on board that's a waterproof flashlight. We have another one of these bailing buckets that just goes in here because we have a second one. We have a face mask for CPR, which is going to be in the box. And we have actually a large first aid kit, which has basically been checked out to make sure it has everything on board. And we have a small one in case you need just something like a Band-Aid or something for a small emergency. And all of this goes in this bin. And the bin goes underneath the cabinet. Right underneath the helm, and that's where it'll be all the time. These are reboarding devices that are required to be on board. One is an adult size, one is a child size. How the operation is going to work is that there's a video that's going to happen right at the end of this segment, and it will be showing you some professional guys actually how they actually work and how do you get somebody back on board. These reboarding devices are located in the cupboard at the back beside the anchor, and that's where they are stored. Last but not least, everyone on board the HCW2 is required to wear a life vest. The life vests that we use are called Mustang Survival Inflatables. So they aren't so bulky to wear as the old type life jackets that we used to have. They are an automatic inflatable life vest that will inflate as soon as you hit the water, for example. It also inflates by pulling this tab. Quite often you'll see that on board the life jackets that we give to the clients you won't see this tab because we kind of hide it underneath, because there's a lot of people that are challenged mentally that have a tendency to like to pull those, and it costs about $45 to rearm one of these every time we do it. The way they work is there's a CO2 canister inside, and there's a bobbin in here inside this compartment that actually is made out of material that it dissolves extremely quickly, and as soon as it gets wet, it will inflate the life jacket. So we usually just tuck this underneath for most of the clients to see, but even you'll know where that is in case you need it, but never mind, it will go off if it gets wet regardless. The one I have on is an older version of this, and this is actually one of the ones that we are actually going to retire. But what I'd like to do is actually show you how it's going to work, so here goes. And I will be saved. So that's it for the equipment on board. If you have any questions about where the equipment is stored or how it works, please ask your captain on board. And we're really looking forward to having you on board the boat.